Lucas Axon stepped onto the soft floor of the ritual chamber with a cautious heart. The walls glowed with pale blue patterns that pulsed like gentle waves. He felt a hum in the air, a living energy that seemed to welcome him. Zara stood at the center, her pale blue skin lit by the glow. She smiled softly, her large dark eyes full of warmth. Lucas hesitated for a moment as memories of home whispered in his mind. He missed the quiet halls of Earth's research station, the smell of fresh coffee, the simple sound of wind in trees. But here, on Kyra, everything felt alive. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. Zara spoke in a gentle voice. She explained that pleasure bonding was a sacred rite among her people. They believed it could heal hearts and build true trust. Lucas nodded, his chest tight with nerves and wonder. He reached out and touched Zara's hand. Her skin was warm and smooth like cool silk warmed by the sun. She guided him to sit on a low cushion in the center of the room. He could see the faint lines of ancient runes etched into the floor beneath them. Each rune pulsed in time with his heartbeat, or so it felt. Zara began the ritual by humming a soft tune. The sound was gentle and pure, and it wrapped around Lucas like a warm blanket. He closed his eyes and tried to match his breath to the rhythm of her song. In Kira language, her words meant welcome, trust, and unity. He had studied the language for months, but hearing it now felt like a warm breeze through his mind. He whispered the simple words back to her in Kira tongue as best as he could. Zara's eyes glowed brighter. She reached out and laid her hand over his heart. The next step was a slow dance. Zara helped Lucas to his feet and took his hand. They moved together in a circle, their steps gentle and guided by the glow of the runes. Each time their bodies touched, Lucas felt a small spark of warmth. It felt good, like laughter rising in his chest. He let himself relax and follow Zara's lead. She moved with grace and confidence. He followed, clumsy at first, but growing in ease as the dance continued. The music in her voice and the glow of the floor soothed his doubt. After the dance, Zara guided Lucas to lie down on a soft mat. She knelt beside him and traced a finger along his arm. Lucas felt a shiver of pleasure and surprise. His skin tingled where her touch met him. Zara whispered encouragement, telling him to let go of fear and open his mind to the bond. Lucas took a deep breath and let his muscles relax. He let his mind clear of worry. He focused on the sensation of Zara's touch and the gentle hum around. Then Zara placed her hand gently on Lucas's chest. He felt a wave of warmth flow from her palm into his heart. He gasped as his heartbeat slowed and his mind felt lighter. She guided his hand to rest on her chest. His fingers brushed pale blue skin that pulsed with soft light. He felt a connection, as if their hearts beat in the same rhythm. Memories of loneliness and fear faded, replaced by calm trust. Lucas felt a wave of emotion, joy, hope, and wonder. The chamber glowed brighter as the bond deepened. Lucas felt warmth spread through his belly and up to his cheeks. He opened his eyes to see Zara watching him with a gentle smile. She whispered words of care and praise in her language. He returned her words in a soft voice, finding comfort in the sounds and meanings. He felt his mind open and his heart share its secrets with her. Memories of home, of friends, of quiet nights under Earth's stars, all mixed with this new world. And this new trust. Zara leaned closer and pressed her forehead to his. Lucas felt the glow of her skin warm his face. He closed his eyes and let himself simply feel. The world outside the chamber, with its doubts and dangers, faded away. Here, in this moment, there was only safety and warmth. Zara guided his hand to cradle her face. His fingers traced the curve of her cheek, feeling soft skin and delicate scales. She closed her eyes and let out a soft breath of contentment. As the bond reached its peak, Lucas felt a rush of pleasure that was different from anything he knew on Earth. It was not just physical. It was a wave that touched his mind and his soul. He felt pure joy, like laughter without sound. He felt loved and accepted in a way he had never felt. He opened his eyes and saw tears of happiness in Zara's eyes. They held each other close, hearts beating as one, When the light began to fade, Zara helped Lucas sit up. He felt calm and at peace. He looked around the chamber and saw the runes dim to a soft glow. Zara offered him a drink of water, and he took it gratefully. He realized how thirsty he was. The water tasted fresh and cool, like a gift after a long journey. Zara sat beside him and smiled. Lucas felt a deep sense of gratitude. Zara spoke softly about the meaning of the ritual. She said that the bond they shared would last as long as they chose to keep it. It promised trust, empathy, and friendship. Lucas nodded, his voice catching with emotion. He promised to honor the bond and to share its gifts with his people. Zara's smile shone with pride and hope. Lucas stood and offered his hand to Zara. She took it and rose. They stepped together toward the chamber door. Lucas felt lighter, as if a great weight had been lifted. He no longer feared the unknown. He looked at Zara and saw in her eyes a promise of new beginnings. He knew that back home, his colleagues would hear tales of his work with aliens. He felt ready to share his story. As they left the chamber, the corridor glowed softly. Zara guided Lucas through the hall, pointing out paintings and symbols that told the story of Kara's history. Lucas listened with wonder. Each symbol reminded him of his own culture, of stories told around campfires. He felt connected to this world. He knew that the bond they formed through pleasure would change both their peoples. When they reached the lab where Lucas lived, Zara paused at the threshold. She touched his arm gently and looked into his eyes. Lucas smiled back, feeling warmth in his chest. He said a simple phrase in Kara tongue, "Thank you." Zara whispered her own words, and Lucas felt the echo of the bond in his mind. He watched as Zara left him at the door. He turned and entered, carrying the light of the ritual in his heart. Lucas sat at his desk and opened his datapad. He began to write his report. His words flowed easily as he described the ritual, the bond, and the wonder he felt. He wrote in simple language so his readers could feel the same trust and joy. He paused, thinking of Zara's smile, and he wrote one last line, "Trust can be found in the simplest touch." Then he saved the report and looked out the window at the alien sky. He felt ready for whatever would come next. Zara led Lucas back to the ritual chamber the next morning. The pale blue patterns on the walls still glowed softly. Lucas's heart beat fast as he stepped inside. He remembered the warmth and trust he felt during the first encounter. He wanted to feel it again. Zara motioned for him to sit on a cushion near the center. She stood before him, her glowing skin reflecting the runes on the floor. She spoke in her gentle voice, explaining each step before it happened. She reminded him that this ritual was about more than pleasure. It was about sharing energy and understanding each other. Lucas nodded, eager to learn. She began by guiding him through breathing exercises. She placed her hands on his shoulders and asked him to breathe in deeply through his nose. Lucas closed his eyes and followed her lead. He felt the air fill his lungs, then slowly let it out. Each breath made him feel more relaxed. Zara's presence calmed him once he was breathing. Steadily, Zara reached out and took his hand. She led him to a mat on the floor. They knelt facing each other. The runes beneath them pulsed in soft blue. Zara explained that the runes would absorb their energy and share it back to them. She smiled and squeezed Lucas's hand. He felt a small spark of warmth. Zara guided Lucas's other hand to her chest. She asked him to place his palm on her skin. His fingers pressed into the smooth surface. He felt a gentle pulse. It was like a heartbeat. Zara whispered words of encouragement. Lucas felt his nervousness fade. He focused on the rhythm against his hand. Each pulse felt like a wave of warmth. Next, Zara placed her hand on Lucas's chest. He felt a cool touch that quickly warmed. She asked him to feel the energy flow. Lucas closed his eyes and concentrated. He felt a faint hum under her touch, as if energy moved through his body. He felt connected to Zara in a way he could not explain with words. After a moment, Zara pulled her hand back and pressed her forehead to his. Lucas felt the glow of her skin against his. He closed his eyes and let his mind rest. In that quiet space, he heard Zara's thoughts, They were gentle images of trust, peace, and welcome. He sensed her hope for unity between their worlds. When they pulled apart, Zara guided Lucas onto his back. She moved slowly to ensure he was comfortable. She knelt beside him and touched his hand. Lucas felt a wave of warmth spread from his hand to his heart. Zara whispered the Cairo word for share. Lucas repeated it softly, feeling the sound in his chest. Zara began to trace symbols on Lucas's chest with her fingers. Each symbol glowed faintly when her touch passed over it. She explained that these symbols came from ancient texts. They represented trust, unity, and growth. As she traced each symbol, Lucas felt a gentle warmth under his skin. It reminded him of the sun's first rays on his face. Lucas tried to trace the same symbols on Zara's chest. His hand shook at first. Zara guided his fingers, helping him form each symbol. When he completed one, the symbol glowed on her skin. Lucas felt pride and joy. Zara's smile made him feel brave. She told him he was doing well after the symbols. Zara invited Lucas to sit back up. She brought 2 small bowls filled with a thick liquid. She explained it was a nectar made from Cairo flowers. It had soothing properties and could enhance the bond. Lucas dipped his finger in the nectar and tasted it. It was sweet and light like honey mixed with mint. Zara tasted it too, closing her eyes as she savored the flavor. Zara handed Lucas another bowl containing soft petals. She instructed him to place a petal behind each ear. Lucas followed her lead. He placed a pale pink petal behind his ear. Zara placed a petal behind her ear too. She told him that the petals would help them share feelings more clearly. Lucas felt a gentle pulse of warmth in his forehead. Zara guided Lucas to lie down again. She knelt beside him and began to hum the same melody from the first ritual. Lucas recognized the tune and let it wash over him. He reached out to hold Zara's hand. She squeezed it softly. With her other hand, she traced a petal on his skin, leaving a faint shimmer. Lucas felt a wave of pleasure that was unlike any earth sensation. It was gentle and deep, touching his mind and heart. He closed his eyes and let himself feel the flow of energy. Zara's hum matched the rhythm in his body. He felt calm and happy, as if a weight had lifted. The bond deepened. Lucas could sense Zara's kindness and her desire for friendship. He shared his own memories, images of Earth's oceans, of tall trees swaying in wind, of laughter around a campfire. Zara's thoughts showed him her memories, visions of Kara's twin moons, of flower fields that glowed at night, of songs her people shared at dawn. Their minds met in a silent exchange. Lucas felt tears of joy in his eyes. He pressed his hand over his heart. He felt the bond warm him from within. Zara offered a soft word and wiped a tear from his cheek. Lucas smiled through his tears and whispered her name. As the ritual reached its end, the room's glow began to fade. Zara gently removed the petals from Lucas's ears and gathered them in a small pouch. She handed the pouch to him, telling him to keep it as a reminder of their bond. Lucas accepted it with care. Zara helped Lucas sit up. She offered him another drink of nectar. Lucas drank slowly, savoring each sip. The nectar eased any remaining tension in his muscles. He felt ready to face challenges with new confidence. Zara spoke softly about the meaning of the ritual. She said that the energy they shared could guide their people toward peace. She asked Lucas if he felt the bond. Lucas nodded, his voice steady. He said he felt trust, kindness, and hope. Zara smiled warmly and placed her hand on Lucas's shoulder. He felt the familiar pulse of her skin. He squeezed her hand in return. He knew that he and Zara shared something special. They stood together and left the chamber. The corridor was quiet, lit by the gentle glow of the walls. Lucas looked at Zara and saw trust in her eyes. He offered to walk her back to her quarters. She accepted, her smile bright. As they walked side by side, Lucas felt the rhythm of their steps sync. He knew that the bond they formed in the ritual would grow stronger with each passing day. He reached out and gently touched Zara's arm. She turned to him with a soft laugh. Lucas felt warmth at her laughter. Zara paused at a balcony overlooking the sky. She pointed to the twin moons of Kara. Lucas followed her gaze. He reached out and took her hand. They watched the moons together in silence. Lucas felt that their worlds, once so far apart, had begun to draw close. As the sun set, they returned to the living quarters. Lucas felt calm and happy. He knew that his work on Kara was far from over. But he now carried something precious, a bond of energy and trust with Zara. He felt ready for whatever lay ahead. The day after the bonding ritual, Lucas woke early. He felt the memory of Zara's touch still warm on his skin. The bond hummed softly inside him, a reminder of their shared energy. He dressed in simple clothes and stepped outside his quarters. The hallway lights glowed pale blue, guiding him to Zara's chambers. Zara greeted him with a gentle smile. Her eyes shone with relief when she saw him. "Good morning, Lucas," she said in a soft voice. "Are you ready to continue?" Lucas nodded, but his stomach tightened. Doubts flickered like shadows. He wondered if humans could truly accept what he had experienced. He worried about what his colleagues would say. Zara led him to a quiet garden under a domed roof. Soft light filtered through alien vines. The air smelled of sweet flowers and fresh dew. Lucas took a deep breath and felt some of his tension ease. He looked at Zara and saw kindness in her gaze. She offered her hand and he took it. "Today we face your doubts," Zara said. "The bond can stir fear as well as joy. You must face both to find balance." Lucas nodded and followed her to a low bench. She guided him to sit. The garden was still and calm, but Lucas's mind raced. Zara sat beside him and placed a hand on his back. Her skin was cool and soothing. She closed her eyes and hummed a healing tune. Lucas felt the melody wrap around him, easing his anxieties. He closed his eyes and let the hum fill his senses. Zara asked Lucas to speak his fears aloud. He hesitated, but then found his voice. "I fear my world will not accept this bond," he said softly. "I fear my friends will think me weak. And I fear I cannot give you what you deserve." He paused, ashamed of his doubts. Zara opened her eyes and gently pressed his hand. "Your fears are natural," she said. "The bond is new to your people. They will need time to understand. But know this, trust begins with honesty. Share your doubts, and the bond will help you carry them." Lucas looked at her and saw truth in her words. He felt his doubt ease slightly. Zara rose and guided Lucas to a small pool fed by a glowing spring. The water shimmered pale blue. She invited him to wash his hands and face in the pool. Lucas knelt by the water's edge and dipped his hands in. The cool liquid soothed his skin. He splashed water on his face and felt refreshed. Zara joined him and placed her hands over his in the water. The spring's energy flowed through them. Lucas felt the rush of warmth again. The bond hummed louder, merging his doubts with Zara's calm. He felt clearer, more focused. When they left the pool, Zara led Lucas to a tall mirror at the garden's edge. She asked him to look at himself. Lucas saw his reflection, pale face and clear eyes. He saw strength in his stance and calm in his gaze. Zara stood beside him, her reflection soft and glowing. "See yourself, Lucas," she said. "You are worthy of the bond. Your doubts do not define you, your courage does." Lucas closed his eyes and nodded. He saw the truth in her words. Zara guided Lucas to lay down on a cushion nearby. She knelt beside him and began a rhythmic touch along his arms and shoulders. Lucas felt the familiar warmth spread under her palms. She whispered soothing words, reminding him of trust and unity. Zara single quotes S hands moved to his chest. Lucas felt the gentle pulse as she traced heart-shaped symbols. Each symbol glowed faintly. Lucas felt his heartbeat sync with the glow. He opened his eyes and met Zara's gaze. She smiled and leaned closer. She pressed her forehead to his, and Lucas felt her thoughts. He saw her memories of supporting others through doubt. He saw her own fears when she first led a bond ritual. He felt compassion and understanding flow between them. Lucas let go of his fear. He felt the bond's energy fill him with trust. He whispered to Zara in her language, "I trust you." She closed her eyes and nodded, joy shining in her expression. Zara helped Lucas to his feet. They walked back to the chamber together. Lucas felt lighter, as if doubts had fallen away. He knew they would return, but now he had tools to face them. Back in the chamber, Zara guided Lucas through a short bonding exercise. They stood facing each other and held both hands. Zara instructed Lucas to focus on his breath. He inhaled calm, exhaled fear. The bond glowed around them, pulsing in time with their breathing. After the exercise, Zara pressed a small crystal into Lucas's palm. She said it was a doubt stone. It would glow when his fears threatened to break his trust. Lucas held the crystal carefully, amazed at its weight and warmth. Zara said they would practice together whenever doubts arose. Lucas agreed eagerly. He thanked Zara for her guidance and patience. She touched his cheek softly and smiled. That evening, Lucas returned to his quarters, carrying the doubt stone and memories of the garden. He wrote in his datapad about facing fears and finding trust. He described Zara's kindness and the calm of the ritual. He hoped his report would help his people understand the bond's power. Lucas looked at the crystal on his desk. It pulsed, softly with pale light. He closed his eyes and thought of Zara. He whispered, "I trust us." The crystal glowed brighter. Lucas smiled, ready for the journey ahead. Lucas woke early again, his mind full of memories from the last rituals. He stretched and felt the gentle pulse of the bond in his chest. He smiled as he thought of Zara. Today they would explore deeper levels of pleasure and trust. He washed quickly and stepped into the hallway. Zara waited for him outside her quarters. Her pale blue skin caught the soft light. She gave him a warm smile and offered him her hand. Lucas took it and felt the familiar spark. They walked together in silence, their hands lightly touching. They arrived at a private garden on Kara. This garden was different, more open and wild. Tall flowers with glowing petals swayed in the breeze. The air smelled sweet like ripe fruit. Zara guided Lucas to a low bench carved from smooth stone. Today, we learn new ways to give and receive. Pleasure, Zara said softly. We share our bodies and our hearts. Lucas felt his heartbeat quicken. He nodded, his voice caught by excitement and nerves. Zara reached out and brushed a flower petal across Lucas's cheek. He felt a gentle tickle. She followed by tracing a line from his forehead down to his chin. His skin tingled with delight. He closed his eyes and let himself feel the soft touch. Zara guided his hand to her arm. Lucas placed his palm on her glowing skin. He felt warmth and a subtle pulse beneath his fingers. Zara whispered encouragement. Lucas moved his hand in gentle circles, learning how her skin responded. He felt pride when Zara moaned quietly, her pleasure clear in her voice. Zara stood and offered her hand. Lucas rose and followed her deeper into the garden. A soft light filtered through the leaves. They came to a pool of warm water. Steam rose from its surface. Zara guided Lucas into the water. He sank slowly and felt the heat soothe his muscles. Zara settled beside him. She traced patterns on his shoulders with her fingertips. Lucas leaned back and let the warmth spread through his body. He reached out and did the same for her. Hisses. Fingers glided over her curves. Zara closed her eyes and sighed softly. "The water carries our energy," Zara explained. "Feel how it flows between us." Lucas opened his eyes and watched as glowing particles moved around them. The water shimmered where their hands touched. They stayed in the pool for some time, exploring and learning. Lucas discovered that certain strokes along Zara's back made her glow brighter. Zara found that a gentle press on his temples steadied his racing mind. They laughed softly when a sudden wave of pleasure surprised them both. After the pool, Zara brought Lucas to a soft mat under a flowering tree. Petal fragments fell like rain. Zara lay down first and patted the space beside her. Lucas joined her. The petals cushioned his body, and he felt safe and warm. Zara stroked Lucas's hair. Her touch was tender and loving. Lucas closed his eyes, leaning into each gentle movement. Zara whispered words of affection in Kara language. Lucas smiled and repeated them slowly. He felt a wave of joy at speaking words of love, their bodies pressed together. Lucas felt the shape of Zara's body against his. He traced her curve with his arm. Zara wrapped her leg around his. They moved in slow rhythm, each shift of weight bringing fresh pleasure. Lucas marveled at how natural it felt to move with. Zara in their kisses, Lucas tasted a hint of sweet nectar from Kara flowers. Every touch felt new, as if they discovered a secret in each other's skin. Lucas placed his hand on Zara's back and felt the runes that sometimes glowed under her skin. He pressed gently and saw the light pulse stronger. Zara guided Lucas's head to her chest. He felt her heartbeat. He laid his cheek against her skin and listened. He whispered praises, telling her how safe and happy he felt. Zara smiled and kissed the top of his head. After a while, they lay side by side. Lucas sighed and said, "This feels like home." Zara touched his arm and nodded. She said, "Home is where the heart finds trust." Lucas closed his eyes and let the words sink in. Later, Zara invited Lucas to record his experiences. She brought him a small hollow recorder. Lucas activated it and began to describe the sensations he felt. His voice was calm and clear. He spoke of warmth, trust, and wonder. He described how her touch awakened new feelings in him. Zara watched him work. She said, "Share your truth. Let others learn from your words." Lucas nodded. He felt proud to record the bond's gifts. With the recorder off, Zara shared her own story. She told Lucas how pleasure bonding helped heal old wounds among her people. She spoke of a time when two clans fought over land. Their leaders agreed to a bond ritual. Through pleasure and trust, they found peace. The two clans united and built a great city together. Lucas listened, amazed. He said, "Your bond saved so many." Zara smiled sadly and said, "It could heal even more if we let it." Lucas felt a rush of hope. He imagined humans and Kara walking together in peace. As the suns dipped low, Zara guided Lucas to stand. She wrapped a silk cloak around his shoulders. The cloak glowed softly with runes of unity. Zara fastened a matching cloak around herself. She took Lucas's hand, and they watched the sky turn pink. Lucas said, "Thank you for sharing your world with me." Zara squeezed his hand and said, "Thank you for opening your heart." Lucas felt a deep warmth in his chest. They walked back through the garden, hand in hand. Lucas carried the hollow recorder and Zara carried a small satchel of flower petals. They passed through corridors lit by glowing vines. Lucas felt at peace. Back at his quarters, Lucas reviewed his notes. He added details about the garden, the pool, and the tree. He wrote about the cloak and the story of the clans. He paused when he thought of Zara's sad smile. He wrote that the bond had power to heal old hurts. He closed his datapad. He felt tired but happy. He lay on his bed and touched the runes on his cloak. He felt the bond's pulse. He closed his eyes and smiled. Thankful for the intimacy they shared, Lucas dreamed that night of two worlds joined by a glowing bridge. At its center, he and Zara stood hand in hand, their hearts shining bright. He woke at dawn, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. Days passed after the growth of their bond. Lucas felt the bond with Zara deepen with each ritual. He often walked the corridors with her, sharing meals and stories, but whispers began. Some Kara citizens thought humans should not take part in the sacred ritual. Lucas sensed the change in mood when he entered the lab. One morning, Lucas found Tarek waiting at the door. Tarek was a Kara delegate who stood tall and proud. His skin was a deep violet marked by silver lines of experience. His dark eyes looked cold. Lucas stepped back and offered a polite greeting. Tarek did not return it. "Your bond insults our traditions," Tarek said, his tone sharp. "Humans do not belong in the ceremony. You bring shame to Kara." Lucas felt his heart tighten. He wanted to speak, but Zara appeared behind him. "Tarek," Zara said calmly, "Lucas honors the ceremony. He seeks unity, not shame." Tarek glared at her. Zara raised her hand, but did not touch Lucas. He stood silent, trusting Zara to handle the challenge. Tarek pointed a finger at Lucas. "Your people have not proven themselves. How can you ask us to accept you?" Zara's calm voice carried weight. "Lucas has accepted our people. He has shown respect and trust. The bond has healed old wounds before. Tarek narrowed his eyes. Stories of unity are one thing. Real life is different. Some will not accept a human between us. They will demand our traditions stay pure. Zara stepped in front of Lucas. Traditions evolve. The bond we share can bring peace. Will you deny that chance? Tarek's chest pulsed with anger. Behind him, a small group of Kara watchers murmured their agreement. Lucas took a steady breath. He found his voice. I came here to learn and to share. I respect your people and your rituals. I believe trust grows when we open our hearts. Tarek looked surprised by Lucas's calm courage. Suddenly the murmurs grew louder. The group stepped forward, their faces tight with anger. Zara placed a hand on Lucas's arm. He felt her warmth and steadied himself. Tarek raised his voice to address the crowd. Do we welcome the human into our sacred halls? The group's whispers turned to shouts. Some voices called for banishment, others for trial. Zara raised her voice above the noise. Listen to the bond, she cried. Feel its power for yourself. Zara guided the crowd to the chamber. Lucas followed, heart pounding. The crowd hesitated, but curiosity drew them. They stood at the entrance. Zara turned to them and spoke in clear Kyra tone. I offer to share the bond with any who doubt. Let them feel its truth. One by one, Kira citizens stepped inside. Zara and Lucas stood at the center. Zara touched Lucas's chest, then her own, inviting anyone to join. A brave elder stepped forward. She placed her hand on Zara's shoulder and then joined Lucas's extended hand. She closed her eyes and let the bond flow. The elder gasped as warmth spread through her. Her eyes softened. Another stepped in. More joined until half the crowd took part. Tensions melted into wonder as they shared the ritual. Even Tarek stood at the edge, torn between anger and curiosity. When the energy settled, Zara guided the group back outside. The crowd looked changed. The elder bowed to Lucas and Zara. The bond is true, she said. Murmurs of acceptance replaced anger. Tarek stepped forward slowly. He bowed his head to Lucas. I was wrong to judge so fast, Tarek said quietly. I see now the bond's power, Lucas nodded, relief flooding him. Zara smiled gently at Tarek. He returned her smile. Back in private, Zara turned to Lucas. You stood strong today, she said. Lucas felt his chest swell with pride. Zara added, Our people will speak of this day. They will remember the courage and unity. Lucas smiled. He thought of home and the work he would do to share these lessons. He knew challenges would come again. But today, they had faced the threat and won trust through the bond. That night, Lucas and Zara sat under Kyra's twin moons. They held hands and felt the bond pulse softly. Lucas whispered, Thank you for standing with me. Zara pressed her head to his shoulder. We stand together always, she said. In the quiet night, they felt hope grow between their worlds. They knew the ritual of pleasure had proven its power once more. News of Lucas and Zara's bond spread quickly. By morning, Kyra's council hall buzzed with voices. Some delegates whispered support, others doubt. Lucas walked with Zara through marble columns that led to the council chamber. His heart thumped. With nerves and hope. Inside, the council assembled. Zara and Lucas stood before leaders seated on glowing thrones. The head delegate, Velis, a tall figure with silver hair and pale blue skin, raised a hand for silence. Lucas bowed respectfully. Velis spoke in rich Kyra tone. We gather to decide the fate of our bond rituals. The presence of a human places us at a crossroads. Will we embrace change or cling to old ways? Zara stepped forward. Her voice was calm and clear. Honored delegates, I stand here with Lucas, who came as a student and became my partner. Our bond has shown its power in trust, healing, and unity. I ask you to witness our ritual one more time. Some delegates shifted uncomfortably, others nodded in curiosity. Velis inclined his head to Zara. Proceed, he said. Zara and Lucas moved too. The center floor, Lucas felt the gaze of every leader on him. He squeezed Zara's hand and offered a small smile. She returned it with warmth. Zara reached for Lucas's hand and placed it on her chest. Lucas felt the gentle pulse beneath his palm. He closed his eyes and let the energy flow. Zara mirrored his movement and placed her hand on Lucas's chest. Together they stood still, sharing the bond. A soft hum filled the chamber. Runes on the floor glowed around them. The light spread to each delegate's feet, inviting them to join. A few closed their eyes, drawn by curiosity. Velis watched with interest. Other delegates rose slowly and placed hands on their neighbors. Soon half the council participated. The room filled with warmth and soft light. Lucas felt tears in his eyes as he shared the bond with leaders who once doubted him. He sensed their acceptance and respect. Zara's hand on his chest steadied his feelings. As the ritual ended, the glow receded. Velis stood and faced the council. His voice echoed. "We have seen the bond's truth. It offers unity beyond our worlds. I propose we welcome humans into our rituals and share this gift across galaxies." A murmur of agreement rose. Delegates voted by voice. The decision was unanimous. Lucas's heart soared. Velis turned to Lucas. "Human, you honor us. Will you continue to share this bond with Kara?" Lucas bowed and spoke clearly. "I will serve as an ambassador of unity." The council rose and cheered. Zara beamed beside Lucas. Tears of joy glistened on her cheeks. After the council, Kira citizens celebrated in the streets. Glowing lanterns floated above. Humans and Kara danced under twin moons. Lucas and Zara moved through the crowd, hand in hand. Friends greeted them with warmth. Later, Lucas and Zara stood on a balcony overlooking the celebration. Zara leaned into Lucas and whispered, "We did this together." Lucas kissed her forehead and replied, "Together always." As the night deepened, they returned to the ritual chamber. Zara placed a hand on Lucas's chest and whispered, "Our bond has united worlds." Lucas echoed softly, "Our pleasure brought peace." They lay together on the soft mat, the runes glowing beneath them. They held each other close, trusting in the bond they shared. In the quiet morning, Lucas packed his datapad. He wrote the final lines of his report. Unity through pleasure is possible when we open our hearts and share our lives. He looked at Zara and smiled. Zara helped Lucas to his feet. Together they walked toward a new dawn, ready to build a future where species stand as mates through pleasure.